Hey guys, I'm Deepthi Desikan. I feel like I look like a sports person today with all this. A little TMI, I was like the worst person at sports. If there's a running race or anything, count me in to come last at everything and just suck at sports. So, not related, but I don't know why the headband makes me feel like I'm playing tennis or something of that sort. But I just wanted to experiment a little bit and leave my hair down, but not with it falling all over my face, because every time in the video I'll be like, and then it just hinders with the filming process. So I just wanted my hair down but keep the hair away from my face. Anyways, I know nobody asked for this, but I'm here. You can count me in to always give you guys a little too much information. So anyways, today's video is going to be a video that is not dupes. So yeah, that's exactly the title of the video. So today's video is going to be about products that are actually not dupes for one another, but these were products that were claimed to be dupes by a lot of people, influencers, Pinterest. If you see anywhere, you can see that these products are said to be dupes for the high-end product, but I beg to differ, and in my opinion they are definitely not dupes for one another. Now, how do people come up with dupes is, at the time of release, if there's something that is quite similar to that product, then they call it to be a dupe. But then there are products that come up, there are new releases that are a lot similar to that particular product, and this dupe thing can change over time because there are some better improvised version of a certain formula. It just varies. But even now, if you just search some dupes video, like even a year back and even 6 months ago, people would still call these particular products a dupe, and those are the products I'm going to be talking about. So yeah, the whole point of this video is to save your money, and if you're going to buy these products thinking that you're going to get the same performance because it's a little bit more affordable, I just don't want you to be disappointed. That is the point of the video, okay? Not to offend anyone. So let's get started. The first one I'm going to be talking about, okay, this actually had me going like, what? I can't believe people used to call this a dupe for this particular product. So the first one I'm going to be talking about, the high-end product, is the MAC Studio Fix Fluid Foundation. This, I for the longest time didn't really like it on my skin because I thought it was looking a little bit too powdery and cakey. And then when I just prepped my skin really well and learned the application process of this and the way you actually apply this on your skin, it just looks beautiful. It looks like skin. You can wear this on so many different occasions, like special occasions, and it would still look really nice. This does contain an SPF of 15 in it, but it doesn't have any crazy flashbacks because I have used this on some special occasions and it looked beautiful. So a product that was said to be a very good dupe for this, and it was pretty popular, okay? This opinion that this particular product is a dupe for this was pretty popular, and that product is the Maybelline Matte and Poreless Foundation, the Fit Me Foundation. So initially, like years ago, when I tried out the MAC foundation, where I just mentioned to you guys that I didn't really like how it looked on my skin and I thought it was too dry and cakey, that was because of the skin prep, and the sales assistant didn't prep my skin really well for the foundation to go really well on that. So of course, any foundation is going to cling on to the dry patches on your skin. It's just going to make your skin look really bad. So skin prep is so important. Like if you don't even moisturize your skin, any foundation is going to look bad. So that's why I was like, okay, maybe Maybelline Fit Me is a good dupe for the MAC Studio Fix Fluid Foundation. But now that I have both of this and I have started to love this foundation and seen how this works on my skin, I would tell that this is certainly not a dupe at all, and these foundations are not similar to one another at all by any means. Maybelline Fit Me Foundation, I feel like it doesn't really photograph that well. It clings onto dry patches, looks really cakey and powdery and dry on the skin, and every single time I mention the Maybelline Fit Me Foundation, I have a lot of people agreeing with me and they're like, yes, I subscribe to you the moment you mention about the Maybelline Fit Me Foundation. So turns out I'm not the only one, and a lot of people dislike this. So if you bought the Maybelline Fit Me Foundation thinking that it's a dupe for the MAC Studio Fix Fluid, I think you have been deceived right there. Maybe you should try out the MAC Studio Fix Fluid Foundation because it's really nice. And I have done a dupes video of popular high-end foundations. I will link it right here, and you can find a really good dupe for the MAC Studio Fix Fluid, but this one is certainly not a dupe. And before I move on to the next product, if you guys are wondering like why I have two different shades on my face, I'm not sure if it's prominent on camera, but if it is, because I have the Too Faced Born This Way foundation and I've tried it out in two different shades and I have reviewed it for you guys. If it is already up, you know where to find it. If not, that video is coming up really soon, so that's the reason I have two different shades, not because I don't know my shade, okay? The next product I want to be talking about is the Becca Backlight Priming Filter, and the dupe that was suggested for this, and I got the dupe as well, you bet, is the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Dewy Face Primer. Both of these have a reflex to it, and I think that was the reason this was suggested as a dupe for the Becca Backlight Priming Filter. Maybe at that time only this was available, I'm not very sure. But I want someone to like change all these dupes and tell us a more updated dupes, because a lot of people would Google up dupes for Becca Backlight and get that one, and this is most of the times the one that is recommended. And I feel like the reason this is not a dupe is because it has sort of like a white cast to it, and it just doesn't blend really well with your skin and doesn't do anything to the foundation underneath. Like the Becca primer, if you apply it, it looks so beautiful. It makes your foundation look a little bit dewy and adds a natural glow to your skin, and it looks really nice. It doesn't have shimmer particles as such. It doesn't emphasize texture. In fact, it does add a slight smoothing effect to your skin. It looks beautiful. Whereas this one doesn't do that. I feel like the shimmer particles are a little bit too prominent. There is sort of like a tint to it, like a gray white tint to it. When you apply it on your face and apply a foundation on top of this, it alters the shade of the foundation as well. And so that's the reason I don't really get why this was called a dupe for the Becca Backlight Priming Filter. I think there are more better dupes, and I will probably get a closest dupe for this, and I will do it in another video. But for now, these are certainly not dupes. And the next product I'm going to be talking about is the Nars Radiant Creamy Concealer. And the dupe that was suggested for this had me go like, what? How? So this is the Maybelline Fit Me Concealer. I don't really know from where this thing arises that this is a dupe for the Nars Radiant Creamy Concealer. If you've tried out the Nars Radiant Creamy Concealer, I don't know if I have to always mention the entire thing, but it's just registered in my head, and that's the reason I always tell Nars Radiant Creamy Concealer. So if you've tried this one out, it is a really good medium coverage concealer, but it doesn't look like you have a lot of product on your skin. It blends into your skin and just looks so beautiful. It just makes you feel like, you know, you don't really have anything, but it does the job of concealing. And they have really good shade options and something that would cater to every skin type. Whereas this one, the Maybelline Fit Me, ever since I got this, I was wondering why people like this concealer. If you have like no problem on your skin, if you don't have pigmentation that you want to mask up, then I get it. Like probably you don't really have very dark under eye circles, and then any product would work in that case, and it would just work for your skin tone. But this one, it doesn't have any coverage in my opinion. It's very, very light, like negligible coverage. It doesn't last very well on my skin. It creases a lot, and the shade match is so poor. Like this is in the shade medium and it's very light, okay? I know that medium concealer can be a little bit like a highlighting concealer for my skin tone, but this is like really light, and the undertone, just not my favorite. And I feel like even that I can see past if it had a certain amount of coverage, but the coverage is just so poor that I just can't digest it. And I just kind of try to like think like, how was this suggested to be a dupe for the Nars Radiant Creamy Concealer? The next product I'm going to be talking about is the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer. You guys know this is one of my favorite full coverage concealers. It is kind of drying on the skin if you have dry skin, but it has a beautiful coverage, like full coverage. It doesn't crease as much, and it stays for the longest time, like throughout the day on my under eye area. So little goes a long way with this concealer, and I love it. And the dupe that was suggested when this product first launched, and even I have done this and I have compared this as well, is the Makeup Revolution Conceal and Define Concealer. Like what was I thinking? But you know, at that time when Tarte Shape Tape was launched, no other concealer and no other brand had such a full coverage concealer in their thing. So the Makeup Revolution Conceal and Define was the closest in terms of coverage. It does get quite up there. I mean, it's not as full coverage as Tarte Shape Tape. I think I even mentioned that in my comparison video, but it gets quite up there. But this is not as long wearing, and it doesn't really mask the pigmentation that much. Like if you have the under eye circles and you have like dark inner corners, it doesn't really stay there no matter what, and it just keeps fading away. And so I think all of us went wrong there. And because dupes video are meant to be like something that you can get like closest to the finish of this. So the next one that was launched was the Pack Spotlight Liquid Concealer. So this again was suggested to be the closest dupe for the Tarte Shape Tape, and something that was available easily in the Indian market and launched by an Indian brand. So I think, yeah, the coverage of the Pack Spotlight Concealer is pretty good, and it is quite up there, but again still not quite like the Tarte Shape Tape. The Tarte Shape Tape has just beautiful coverage. I mean, it's not the most raved about concealer right now because a lot of people don't really like it. They find it to be a little bit too drying. So the Too Faced Born This Way concealer could be a really good option for people who find it to be a little bit too drying. But I still feel like, you know, this is very similar to the Makeup Revolution Concealer in Define, where it does have coverage, not as much as Tarte Shape Tape, but again the lasting power is not that great, and it does crease quite a bit and fade away from the inner corner for me. So I think the closest dupe for the Tarte Shape Tape would be the e.l.f. Camo Concealer, the L'Oreal Infallible Concealer. Those are really good dupes if you wanted to try out the Tarte Shape Tape. And actually I feel like the formula of those are a little bit better. I mean, it's not as drying. I still do reach out for my Tarte Shape Tape quite a lot, but those are pretty comparable. And also the Milani Conceal and Perfect Concealer. Beautiful concealer if you wanted to try that out. So yes, next let's move on to the Benefit PoreFessional Primer. Now this is one of my favorite pore filling primer. It's really nice, and this size is enough. Like, I've been using this for the longest time, and I just use this on my T-zone. It does kind of fill in your pores and minimizes the appearance of the pore, like makes it look a little less visible. So the dupe that was suggested by a lot of people is the Lakme Absolute Blur Perfect Primer. This is a really good pore filling primer from the affordable range. I'm not denying that, but I don't think it's quite similar to the Benefit PoreFessional Primer, in the sense that Benefit has a really nice smooth feel and it blends instantly into your skin, and it also doesn't have a tint to it, whereas the Lakme primer has a sort of like pinkish tint to it, which if you like, and it kind of helps with your skin tone. I don't deny that, but I think the closest dupe from the Indian market for the Benefit PoreFessional Primer is the Pack Pore Primer. I have compared it in another video. I will link it. I don't want to keep saying, link it in the cards. So that is quite similar because it doesn't really have a tint, and it does a really good job of filling in your pores. I'm not sure if the Nykaa primer is very similar, but you can try that out as well. But this one is not similar to that. You can get this one in a travel size right now, but it is a pretty decent pore filling primer minus the tint. So I just wanted to clear the air here, okay? Next one I'm going to be talking about, okay, this was quite popular and I kind of like completely deny this one. This is the MAC Strobe Cream. This is one of my favorite strobing products, Strobe Cream. I feel like it's really nice if you want to mix it in with your foundation, use it before your foundation, just high points of your cheek, and you can use this even on a daily basis without makeup, just your moisturizer and this one on top of that, and it still looks beautiful. It doesn't really have like visible shimmer particles to it, and it's just like a nice sheen but no shimmer that would peek through your skin. So the dupe that is still recommended, if you type dupe for MAC Strobe Cream, this would pop up. This is the Master Strobing Cream by Maybelline. Where do I begin? So first of all, the shade of this is quite different, okay? This is said to be in the shade Nude. So I thought it will have more of like a golden sheen to it, but it kind of has a pink tone to it. And they have a pink variant as well, I guess. And then I just thought that, okay, it blends beautifully into your skin and it looks like it has the same sheen that the MAC Strobe Cream has. But once you blend it into your skin and let it rest, you can see all the shimmer particles on your skin. If you don't really mind that, then definitely go ahead and get this one. But I don't think it's similar at all, because the MAC Strobe Cream, let me just show you guys, like, I hope I can capture some close up. So the MAC Strobe Cream, first of all, the tone of this is really nice. It just blends beautifully to my skin tone. I really like it. They have quite a few shades like silver, peach light, pink light. A lot of you guys have recommended that peach light also does suit our skin tone really well, but I really like the shade gold light. So it doesn't have like a tint to it, and it wouldn't contrast on your skin tone. Like if you were to apply it on your high points of your cheek, it wouldn't look anything. And I've blended it nicely, okay? And you cannot see the shimmer particles on this one. So to your bare naked eyes, you cannot capture those shimmer particles, and it is just so fine and beautiful. So that's the reason I really like this one, and I feel like it's very natural looking on the skin, whereas this one is just a little too much, and a little too much of shimmer for my preference. Like, I don't mind it, but I wouldn't call this a dupe for MAC Strobe Cream. Definitely not. But if you are someone who doesn't mind shimmer on your face and you think like, okay, what's the big deal, like we anyways do use powder highlighters as well, then by all means you can try that out. When I was looking for a dupe for MAC Strobe Cream, this was the one that was recommended, and I initially got this because I thought it is very close to the MAC Strobe Cream. But when I tried it out, I was like, okay, what is the hype all about? Is this how MAC Strobe Cream looks as well? And that's the reason I never went ahead and got the MAC Strobe Cream for the longest time, until one of my subscribers were like, you are gonna love that, just try that product out and then thank me for it. So that's the reason I tried it out, and it is not at all similar. But if you have got this and you don't really like this, use this as a body illuminator. Like, use this on your body, like if you're wearing sleeveless and you just wanted a little bit of a glow, take it, apply it on your body for that shimmer sheen. And I also feel like this formula is a little bit drying for my liking, whereas the MAC Strobe Cream, I feel like it's just really smooth and not as drying and like a dry texture on the skin. And then another dupe that was said to be very close to the MAC Strobe Cream is the LA Girl Luminous Glow Skin Illuminator. Now this one, again, if you want intense cream highlight, you can try this one out. I think a lot of people would really like this. It's not something that is subtle by any means, so I wouldn't compare this to the MAC Strobe Cream at all. It's not at all similar. It has like a lot of shimmer particles to it, and it kind of spreads throughout the day all over your face. So if you wanted something like that, then by all means, I think you'd really like it. And if you want to use this as a body highlight, you can still try this one out. But if you wanted something that is very, very similar to the MAC Strobe Cream, I think you should try out the Sugar Illuminating Moisturizer. That is the one that is closest in terms of formula, in terms of texture to the MAC Strobe Cream. Next up, I want to be talking about the Anastasia Amrezy highlighter. Now this is one of my favorite highlighters. Just the packaging and everything is just so luxe, so beautiful. And this is a product that is discontinued and you cannot find this one. You see that sheen on this? Yeah, it's not a very dry formula and it has that kind of like a sheen to it. It does have shimmer particles to it. It is an intense highlighter, but there was a phase I was just using just this one, and I don't regret getting this at all. But every single time I search for a dupe for this one, the LA Girl Powder Strobing Powder in the shade 50 Watt is what is recommended. This is the LA Girl highlighter and this is the Amrezy highlighter. The shade, I mean, yeah, they are quite similar, and on the skin, most highlighters look the same. So it doesn't really matter if the shade is very similar or not. But the reason I don't call this to be a dupe is because the formula of this LA Girl strobing powder is super dry. Like, it's the most dry powder formula I've ever seen, and because of that, on the skin it kind of like breaks apart and also makes your skin look really bad. Like, if you have texture, the minute texture as well would be emphasized with this formula, and so I don't think that they are similar. And then another dupe that I thought was very similar, but when I played around with that palette, I was like, no, it's not similar, you know. So that is the Anastasia Modern Renaissance palette. So this, when it launched, this is the Wet n Wild Rosé in the Air palette, was said to be very, very similar to that. I mean, I get it, the color scheme is very similar to that, but that is a bigger eyeshadow palette. So this is a 10 pan palette and that is a 14 pan palette. Yeah, you do miss a couple of shades, but I can say that the matte shades are quite similar to that, but the shimmer shades, not at all a dupe, you guys. So if you're buying this thinking you'd get the same performance of the shimmer shades from that palette, I just totally disagree, because these shimmer shades do not show up on your skin at all. It's just like a matte shade, and first of all, you don't really get a lot of shimmer shades in this. You just get two, and both of those are not my favorite. Like, this looks like a matte eyeshadow in my opinion. Like, where is the sheen? And they're just too powdery. So yeah, I mean, you just get this for a fraction of the cost. That is really pricey, and you get this for a fraction of the cost. But if you wanted a better alternative, I would suggest the LA Colors palette, which I have mentioned to be a dupe for this one. I will link it right here. So you can get that palette, or a palette from Makeup Revolution, the Reloaded palette. One of those palettes are quite similar to the Anastasia Modern Renaissance palette, so you can try that one out, because the shimmer shades in that do pack a punch and they do show up as opposed to this. I know this is really affordable and a lot of people can get their hands on this, but even the Makeup Revolution one is not that expensive. It retails for around $7.99 or something like that, and on a discount especially on Myntra and most of the sites. You can find it for about 500 change or 600. So you just have to pay a little more compared to this and get a better palette that actually functions. I hope you guys understand my motive of doing this video, and my point behind this is that I want you guys to save your money. I mean, buy affordable products, but buy products that are quite similar or good quality as opposed to something that is just mentioned as a dupe. So the last one, and I'm going to be ending it with this, is the beauty blender, the original beauty blender, the thing that started it all. So the closest dupe for this was said to be the Real Techniques sponge, and you bet it right, I got the Real Techniques sponge. I got it from Feel Unique originally, and then I also ordered it from Nykaa. I have the face and body sponge, and I also have the original sponge. It looks somewhat like this. This is not the Real Techniques sponge. This is a rip-off of the Real Techniques sponge, but I have tried both of that and they are not at all similar to this. Can you see how squishy this is? But that one is a little bit too dense and it just doesn't blend the product at all. I have left both of those sponges in my room in my mom's house, so I don't really have it to show it to you guys right now, but you can count on me that the Real Techniques sponge is a little bit too dense and it's not at all a dupe. If you wanted a really good close dupe for this, there is so much available easily in India. You can try out the Mars Cosmetics sponge. It is beautiful. It is right here. I have it. Like, just look at this. Very similar, squishy. This does feel a little bit dense, but I like it like this. It just blends your foundation beautifully. It doesn't like soak up too much of your product as well, whereas the beauty blender actually does soak up a little bit more product. So if you wanted a good alternative, you can try out the Mars Cosmetics sponge. I think Wet n Wild has one, Elf has some, so you can try out so many other things and you don't really have to stick to the OG dupes. And that applies for a lot of these products because as there are new launches, we have to update our dupe list. And so this is a video that you can keep as a reference for clarification purpose that these are not dupes to one another. So let me know in the comment section down below, what are the products that you thought were dupes to one another and you are like completely disappointed because you found that these are not dupes. Let me know in the comment section down below. And while you're at it, give this video a big thumbs up and also subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell so that you're notified every time I upload a new video. And I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.